Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, however, wherever, whenever you're listening. This is the Root for Wisconsin show, episode 146, coming at you from the Riverwood Gallery studio in De Pere, Wisconsin. I'm host producer Eric Fisher. Joining me this week, probably our lowest attended show in some time, just me and the Highway 22 crew member, Sean Klosterman. Sean, how you doing, buddy?
Doing good. How are you?
Fantastic. We have a lot to talk about. You know, when the week started, I did not anticipate having that much to talk about.
Right.
But we'll go through all of it and tell everybody at length our thoughts on it and the thoughts out there that exist on it and go from there. So with that, we are going to start with what we always start off with, talking about our friends over at Raging Pro Wrestling and RPW Extravaganza 3 this weekend from the Big Apple in Manitowoc. Ramsey, myself, Shauna, and Mel making her RPW attending debut. We will be in the balcony at the Big Apple, so be sure to say hi to us and stop out and enjoy some local pro wrestling. Main event on that. There was a miscommunication on our availability for the event.
Sure.
And so we got moved up to the balcony instead of our usual front or second row, but we will be just as loud, if not louder.
So does that mean you get the bar up there too?
I don't think they have a bar there at that one.
I thought they had a bar up there the last time we were there.
No, they have one kind of on the back part in the general admission area.
Yeah, I know that, but I thought there was one up there too.
If there is, that's even better. I'll be happier than...
Or maybe that was for the athletes.
Right, that could be it too.
Professional athletes.
The talent.
Yeah, there it is. Talent.
That said, huge card coming up this weekend. None bigger than former WWE superstar, former TNA Impact star, Ken Anderson or Ken Kennedy, depending on who you ask. Taking on Rampage Santana, who's really big on the indie scene around here as of late. So that is the main event. Few other matches going on as well in the event. Obviously, Brick McCarthy will defend his RPW Heavyweight Championship against Davey Vega. And Heather Reckless defending her RPW Women's Championship against Maggie Lee, among other matches. Doors will open for that one, it looks like at 5 p.m. 5:30, excuse me, with RPW Surge at 6 and the main card at 7 p.m. So be sure to stop out, get there early, and say hi to everyone and enjoy some awesome local wrestling. Sean, we have a major announcement to tell our listeners and tell our fans about tonight. And let's not waste any time with it. So because it is a business announcement. And that business announcement is we have a new Root 4 partner. So when we do our spiel at the end of the show about what we are rooting for in the upcoming week, we have a new partner for that, and it is Ticket Smarter. Ticket Smarter, like a lot of other places out there, resells tickets. They do have some of the lowest ticket fees out there. It's a necessary evil, as I've come to learn. Not talking with them about it, but there is a way to make it better and to kind of make it easier on yourself, and that's where we come in. If you go to Ticket Smarter on any order, not just your first one, not just your next one, every single order that you buy tickets through Ticket Smarter, we're going to give you $10 off with our code ROOTS10, ROOTS 10. $10 off every single order. And they have events everywhere, whether it be, I'm just kind of looking at the app right now. Tickets for Sam Hunt, Brett Young, and Lily Rose, March 21st. The Price is Right live show in Appleton. Joe Gatto at the Widener Center. Brewers tickets, Packer tickets, WWE tickets, Wisconsin Herd tickets, you name it, it's there. So get $10 off of every single order with code ROOTS10, ROOTS 10 for that $10 off your order. With that, Sean, now we can get in the episode.
That's exciting.
Very exciting. So that's been a few weeks in the works now. I can confirm that the code has been activated. Worked with the higher-ups over at Ticket Smarter to get that to us. They're also going to be popping in. We're their first podcast partner.
Nice.
They've been partnering with, teams specifically before this, and like ESPN for like the ESPN Plus commercials and you name it. But this is their first podcast, so they're going to be coming in with prizes and giveaways every so often, whether it be T-shirts and merch, whether it be possible gift card opportunities down the road. I don't have anything up the sleeve right now on that, but just as always, keep your eyes out for Ticket Smarter and the Root for Wisconsin show.
Nice.
So with that said, Sean, we can get into the episode itself. And we talk about what had been positive, what we had rooted for last week. And Sean, I've done a lot of talking here in the first couple of minutes, so I'll let you take over.
Oh, you're going to let me take over talking?
Yeah.
What did we root for in the last week? I don't even remember.
It doesn't have to be specific to the last episode.
No, I know. What I think we had rooted for high school girls basketball, actually.
I believe we did.
And I know you were there a lot over the week, or Saturday mostly, and you saw some spectacular games. You were telling me.
Secretary Shauna and I were at the Rush Center from. We were there Friday night for the semifinal games in Division I, and saw 4 really good teams, 2 really good games. But specifically, we were there for Championship Saturday, which is always really fun. It's fun. It's heartbreaking at the same time because as you watch these games, you see these kids giving it their all, and on a stage neither one of us ever got to compete on. It's always wild how, after a loss, and every single game was incredibly close. You never knew who was going to win. Heartbreaking for, these girls who worked all year, have been working since October with the season, not to mention summer workouts, all that, basically since last season ended, to get to that stage. And some of them, seniors who are playing their last high school basketball game, possibly their last basketball game ever. And again, just worked. And, the second best team in the state, they played for a championship. They got a trophy to bring back to their school. And just the heartbreak that comes with, those teams not losing, but also the joy and triumphant happiness on the teams that did win. So it was really cool. We were there. We got there at bright and early at 10 a.m. on Saturday morning, but an hour before the first game, because we wanted to get our selection of where we're going to camp out for the day, because there's only so many tables and so many seats on Media Row, and we got 2 of us, so we gotta plan that out. So we planned it out perfectly. We're right at midcourt all day Championship Saturday, right next to the TV broadcast as well. I'm sure if you had watched the broadcast, you saw my nearly bald head and Shauna's long hair. So
yeah, we saw your bald spot.
I don't have a bald spot. I got a haircut.
I got a bald spot.
Oh, cool. That's good to know. Anyway, so we were there all day Saturday. Division 5 started off with the closest home team to the homeland, I should say, because I guess I can't really say the closest team to us as we broadcast, because that would be Notre Dame in Green Bay. But going back to the roots, as we always do, no pun intended, and the Lena Wildcats coming up just short in the Division 5 championship game. And again, I gotta say, that game specifically, it was so cool to see all the communities up north, not just Lena, because I believe they were the ones who took home the Division 5 $2,000 grant for most pre-sold tickets given by the Packers. That was determined Friday morning, so I don't know that for 100% certainty, but I believe that's what I was told over the weekend.
I know they had at least sold 900 as of Friday for Friday's game.
Sure. And that's what it's based on. It's based only on the semifinal games, because obviously you have all 4 teams then. But the winner of that on each division gets a $2,000 grant from the Green Bay Packers, and like I said, I'm pretty sure it was Lena in Division 5, which, Sean, like you said, 900 plus tickets for a town that has a population of 521.
Yep.
But that's insane. Which, again, just speaks volumes about those communities in that area coming out and supporting all those girls. Unfortunately, it comes up short. Hard-fought game, went to overtime, and I want to thank any new listeners we got out of that for choosing to follow along and coming with us on that journey, because we were the ones. We were there in the press conference. We had the video up of the highlights that Shauna made, and Shauna was making those in real time as the games were going. She's taking clips and figuring out which one she wants to keep and editing them as the games are going. So Shauna worked her butt off. I was doing the live updates on Twitter and other socials, and like I said, that post-game press conference where, again, just heartbreaking conversation that you're having with, someone who's 16, 17 years old and the coach, but glad that we got to be there and provide that to people up north. Because I think we were the only ones going live at that point. I remember being in the room at the time, so glad we got to give that to the community, Lena. So if you're listening after that, thank you for sticking around, and hopefully we'll give you something to keep listening to. I doubt it, but maybe we will. Division 4 game, another close one. A lot of talent in that one. Same with the D3 game as well. Had a little bit of a break, got out of the rush center for about a half hour. We snuck over to D2, had a appetizer plate and a water, or a soda. We had soda, actually, because we needed caffeine. Because by that point it was 5:30. We had been there for 3 straight basketball games. After not getting home the previous night after the semifinals we were there till about 10:15, 10:30 the night before. Come back, 3 incredible basketball games, and then like short break, soda, and then 2 more just incredible games. And starting with that Division 2 game, I cannot say enough about that game. Notre Dame going for history, going for the first ever 4-peat in Wisconsin State history, I believe, on the girls or boys side. Never been done. And came up short to a team that they have played in the championship game 3 straight times now. 3rd time was the charm. Pewaukee had their pigtail power. And the Terrian sisters, who are Division 1 commits, they're twins from Pewaukee, both Michigan State commits, and played a heck of a game. And they had a really good game the day before, too, in their Division 2 semifinal. To get there, they had a mission, and they finally got over the hump in the championship game and beat Notre Dame for the first time in the postseason in 3 years. They have beaten them the last 2 seasons in regular season play, but not at the state championship game. So that was really fun to watch all go through, and just an incredible, intense game. And then Division 1 game, there was a lot of, again, D1 talent, including Ali Zybel, the UConn commit, Miss Basketball Wisconsin, McDonald's All-American, all the accolades, and my God, was it accurate. Like, it lived up to the hype. I mean, we got in for free with our press passes, but the $10 for those 2 games that you get in that session, those 2 games worth the price of admission. Again, just the talent that those 2 have, and I believe between those 2 games, I think there was 7 or 8, maybe more, but 7 or 8 for sure that I can count off the top of my head, Division 1 committed players.
That's crazy.
And Ali Zybel was the best of all of them. 40 points in each game. Just the definition of a walking bucket. You know, Nina needed one. They ended up coming up short in the championship game. Nina needs one. She's hitting like a step back three. It was insane, which we have highlights of on our social medias, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. It's all there. So if you haven't seen it, please do yourself a favor. Go watch those highlights because words don't do justice for how good all 5 games were this weekend.
Yeah, you're right on that one.
So that was one of our reports. My other report was the Green Bay Phoenix, staying with women's basketball. And the men end up coming up short in the quarterfinal round last Thursday. So their season likely comes to an end. I cannot officially say if it is or isn't because there are the smaller tournaments. I don't believe they're going to continue on. But it's always possible that they might. And then the Green Bay women are returning to the NCAA tournament for the first time since 2018 by virtue of the automatic bid for the Horizon League, where they took home the championship game 64-40 yesterday against Cleveland State. They split the regular season series. Cleveland State was the regular season champion by 1 game. Going into play yesterday, Green Bay was one of the first 4 out on the at-large bid, but sneaks in, or I shouldn't say sneaks in, they dominated in, and as of right now, by Charlie Cream from ESPN's Bracketology, projected as an 11 seed, where they would play in the first round. Again, if his projection comes true, which bracketologists are never 100% correct, but if it were to come true, they'd be in the 6-11 game against West Virginia with a showdown of NC State versus Chattanooga in a second round game, round of 32 game. Should they get to that point, but they do secure their berth into the NCAA tournament and will be playing in the postseason in the NCAA tournament for the first time since 2018, and just incredible game. Came out dominant right away and never really let up.
Nice.
So, congrats to them as well. So that's our root force.
Yep.
With the positives do come the negatives. And Sean, what do you got for us on the negatives? Tyler here, Nugget of the Week, I should say.
Yeah, I know. I can't think of anything off the top of my head here.
You know, I had 2. I had 2 very kind of short ones. First and foremost, I'm going to go after dorks who are super duper mad and wishing bad things upon former Packers players who are no longer with the team. It's a business, and we'll talk about that more in a little bit. But that's, like I said, that's kind of where I'm at on that one.
That's a good one. I like that one.
The other one I'm going to go at is Bears fans. And it's low-hanging fruit. I don't want to do this. And no, that's not true. I really want to do this. The dorks that are Bears fans specifically. Sean, this week, or today, this morning, as I was having my coffee before work, I came across a Bears fan on Facebook who posted a graphic of their projections on if Justin Fields is the starting quarterback versus Caleb Williams being the starting quarterback. With knowing that this is my noogie of the week, how many wins would you say that this Bears fan is projecting the Bears to have with Justin Fields?
With Justin Fields, 7.
No.
3?
This Bears fan has the Bears going with Justin Fields as the quarterback, assuming that they would trade the number 1 overall pick for all this talent or whatever, has the Chicago Bears going 12-5, sweeping the Lions, splitting with the Packers, and sweeping Minnesota. Their only losses according to this fan, would be the Rams, Seattle, the Packers in Green Bay, Houston, and San Francisco. So they have the Bears beating Arizona, Detroit, Green Bay, Minnesota, Jacksonville, Tennessee, Detroit, Indy, Minnesota, Carolina, New England, and Washington.
So theoretically, they probably could have 8 wins.
I would be shocked if the Bears team that is right now, with Justin Fields at quarterback, if they would go 7-10 or 6-11, somewhere in there. That's not shocking to me.
I don't think they're going to do any better between the two. You know what I mean? I don't think Williams is going to win more games than Justin Fields.
Not according to this Bears fan, Sean.
What do they got for Caleb Williams then?
If they take Caleb Williams, according to this Bears fan, based on a projected schedule, he has the Bears going 7-10. Which, I don't know if I buy that. If they go Caleb Williams, I think maybe 5-12 is maybe a little more realistic on a if you're being super optimistic, saying that you hit on every other draft pick.
And it depends on what they get back.
Right. Now, I don't get how this person made their graphic or how they came to. So your Caleb Williams wins would be Arizona, which is both ways. But so many of these games don't go both ways on their thing. Like they have Caleb Williams winning against Seattle, but Justin Fields would lose. Make that make sense to me.
Yeah. See, I feel like, okay, well, we'll get into
that. Or Caleb Williams winning against Houston, but Justin Fields losing.
Okay.
I don't get it.
No, that makes absolutely no sense.
So delusional ass Bears fans is my other noogie. And it's never too early in the offseason to start giving them crap.
Right.
And it's just really a reminder of how they come out of last offseason thinking they were the offseason champions and once again got humbled, once again got 4th place in the division. They need to know. They need to know.
Right.
And this is a safe space for me to tell them that they are delusional and idiots.
Yeah, you could say that.
So that's where we're at with our Noogies of the Week. A couple fun stories here this week, Sean, from our Wisconsin Web Story of the Week. One, just, we'll just touch back on the girls' state tournament and how much business it brings to Green Bay with hotels, the bars, the stadium district gets all that. Kind of a nice little winter burst. They really haven't been any Packer games since January. So a couple months here of, just kind of doing their thing. And a nice little boost in the revenue. So always big story with that. That came out of Fox 11 talking about that. They didn't have exact dollar figures, but I believe, I'm seeing if they have a projection as to what they had expected. According to Brad Toll with Discover Green Bay, for the 3-day tournament in Green Bay, they say it typically brings between $2.1 and $2.3 million to the area over 3 days.
That's crazy.
Kevin Burkle, who's the owner of Burkle's One Block Over, which is a pretty nice establishment, said, quote, "It's a good shot in the arm. It's a good week for business, and it's a good weekend. It's going to be a beautiful weekend," which it was. That's kind of the one downside of having been there all day. It was a pretty nice Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
But they had a lot of basketball. It was fun. Some of the other local business owners talking about how, some of the, you expect the bars, you expect, like the restaurants to kind of get a boost, but Hope Kapisky from Elaine's Wedding and Event Center said that they have designer dresses, some of the bigger names like Giovanni and Amara, which means nothing to me. But we get a lot of people in here who want those designer dresses you can't get anywhere else unless you go to Milwaukee or Chicago. So they bring these people in. and probably get it for a little bit cheaper than they would there as well, plus the gas. So, people looking for something to do while they're in town.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
So that was that story. Another story here. I don't know if you saw this, but Mineral Point, Wisconsin made national news this week because in Mineral Point, the Dollar General had to close over the weekend in that small town because all the employees said we quit and walked off, and no one else showed up.
One way to do it.
They posted a sign that the store is closed. The whole team has walked away due to a lack of appreciation, being overworked, and being underpaid. Another one said, "We quit. Thank you to our amazing customers. We love you and we'll miss you." Dollar General, as a response, is making donations to Feeding America at 21 stores and has donated nearly 7,500 pounds of food, which I don't get how that's necessarily relevant, but it is part of the story.
They're just trying to get good publicity.
And they apologize to their customers for being closed for the 3 hours that they were. They were able to open up on Saturday at 11 a.m. So it wasn't even a full weekend, but they did not show up early for the opening.
Okay.
The last one, just kind of a fun one, so made some headlines, and we don't often delve into the actual crimes and bad, juju out there. But there was a fun story that I feel like I have to mention because it happened here in Green Bay. A Green Bay man was taken into custody after a fight on the city east side. Alleged disturbance with the name of Deez Nuts. According to a criminal complaint obtained by Local 5, 42-year-old Deez Nuts Kroll was arrested following an incident involving a gun on March 5th around 10 p.m., and they were sent to the 900 block of East Walnut Street.
What was the other one you sent this week?
What's that?
What was the other one you sent me last week that you said was going to be your web story?
Oh, yeah. I believe that was the condiment cow.
No, you didn't send me that one. Something about filling potholes.
Oh, yes. I'm glad you reminded me of that.
That was one.
We have a fourth one. So the city of Kenosha also made news over the national news over the weekend, or over the week, with this Facebook post. And I'm going to read it verbatim because it's A, it's really funny, and B, I can't make this up.
Right, exactly. You couldn't make this up if you tried.
So City of Kenosha, Facebook account, which they have confirmed it was not hacked. This is a legitimate post from a government institution, the City of Kenosha. It reads, "Do you have a hole that needs to be filled? The City of Kenosha takes public safety very seriously, which is why we're excited to launch our new hashtag #ShowUsYourHole public safety initiative. To participate, simply send us a picture of your hole, along with its location and the tagline, 'Come fill my hole,' and we will dispatch our crews to service your hole in a prompt and professional manner. Your satisfaction is our priority." End quote. Which, hey, if that's filling in potholes and if that's public safety, good for them, man. Good for them.
Exactly. It's all about public safety. Filling in holes, public safety.
All about public safety and filling in holes. So congrats to the City of Kenosha. Forgot about that one. Thanks, Sean. That's why we pay you the big bucks.
That's what I'm here for.
All right. So with that, Sean, we can get into the world of sports finally. About almost a half hour in. That was a lot of news. We don't usually do that much news, but with a week like that, you have to.
Right. Exactly.
With these nuts and fill your hole.
Mm-hmm.
You can't not talk about that, you know?
Right.
So, where do you want to start, Sean? You want to start with basketball?
Sure,
Baseball?
Because we've kind of been hitting on that with high school basketball and GB and all that kind of stuff. So let's stick with that.
All right, so we'll make this pretty quick because we talked about the Green Bay women. 64-40 win over Cleveland State to punch their ticket to the NCAA tournament. Again, projected as an 11 seed. We will update as to where and when they're playing on Selection Sunday because the women have now moved to Sunday as well, as opposed to they used to be Monday, which I think is actually a really good idea to move them to Sunday. So really good, a very legitimate chance to knock off another team and potentially make some noise, get to the second round for the first time, I believe, since I want to say 2012. Might be the first time if they can get to the round of 32. But it would be awesome to see them and kind of see Coach Borseth and this group of girls who really are only slated. I mean, they're losing 3 going into next season. They're losing 1 graduate transfer and 2 girls who have eligibility but have decided to forego it so they can go on with their careers. One, I believe, will be teaching. One, I believe, is a nurse. So they got to do their real-world work. But we'll be bringing back a lot of the core and maybe a couple other pieces as well. Expectations were incredibly high, as they always are for Green Bay. Coach Megan Vogel said one of my favorite quotes after the quarterfinal game where she was saying that the NCAA tournament is not a goal for us, it's an expectation. And that is incredibly accurate to the program, and especially coming into this season in particular where they had won the regular season tournament title last year, missed out on the conference tournament championship, and they lost in the championship game. Actually, I found out yesterday that the team that has eliminated them in the postseason the last 3 years has been Cleveland State. It's a little bit of a revenge game for the girls. And, man, I talk about the high school girls, and I got to give credit to the Green Bay women where they limited the Horizon League Player of the Year to 22 points, which that doesn't sound like a whole lot. She had 16 at halftime. And 16 of Cleveland State's 19 points were her at halftime. They held her to 6 second-half points. They held Cleveland State's other first-team all-conference player to 7 points. Green Bay out-rebounded them 42-20 or 44-21, I believe. Or no, 42-21. No, I lied. 41-22. I had it backwards because it wasn't. It was 24-20, 24-12 in the first half, so that's the one that was doubled. But 41-22, darn near doubled them in rebounds. Forced Cleveland State to shoot, I think, like 28% from the field the entire game. Just an incredible defensive effort. And Natalie McNeil, who's also first-team all-conference, not that I get an official vote because they didn't actually even do a media vote this year, but she was actually my vote for Horizon League Player of the Year in the Horizon Roundtable group. A little biased, obviously, but also because I thought she had that good of a year. Career high 32 points of the Phoenix 64. So she scored over half the points, with damn near all of them coming from the 15-foot range. Game was at 11 o'clock a.m. here locally in Wisconsin. Ended about 12:45, 1 o'clock. At about 11 o'clock last night, the Green Bay Phoenix Twitter account said, rumor has it Natalie McNeil just hit another mid-range jumper. Because that's every shot she seemed to take was from 15-foot, right from the elbow. And just nothing but net the whole game. Only 2 scorers in double figures in the whole game were Colby Maples from Cleveland State and Natalie McNeil, but 32 points in a championship game and was not going to be denied going back to the NCAA tournament for the first time since 2018. So that's the Green Bay Phoenix women. Green Bay Phoenix men upset last week by Milwaukee Normal School. So their season came to an end, well, I guess technically still unofficially, as, again, they very possibly could make a postseason tournament. Likely wouldn't be the NIT because, finishing third. But very well could be a CBI or the CIT tournament is back. That was actually just brand new announced today. The CIT is back with the CBI. So very curious on how that actually turns out because that has been a shit show the last couple times they've tried to do it. It was one thing, and then they rebranded it, and then it failed again, and then I think they tried it again, and then it failed again. So I think they're on their fourth rendition of the College Insider Tournament. I have no other information on it because they haven't really announced any other information, but I believe that tournament is going to be exclusive to mid-majors, as both of those typically are anyway, but that one for sure is exclusive to mid-majors. So that's the Green Bay men, so we'll see if their season kind of wraps up or if it's already in the books. Like I said, I'm kind of leaning towards that they might be just calling it an off-season, but never know. Right opportunity presents itself. And then looking around the state, Milwaukee, actually, we'll talk about them just for a moment because much as I don't want to talk about it, I'm going to. Loses in the conference final game against Oakland, so they will be likely ending their season as well, as they were eliminated by Oakland. Horizon League is a one bid league, so Oakland, the regular season champ, and the postseason champ. So their season, they will be in the NCAA tournament. So congrats to them. Marquette starts Big East Conference Tournament play tomorrow, or I guess today as we release this on Thursday. I'm not sure if they have a determined opponent yet. Let me pull that up here. But they will be playing tomorrow afternoon. Tyler Kolek, the star of Marquette basketball, already ruled out for the opening round, has not been ruled out for second, third round potential, and then expects to play in the NCAA tournament is the official report. Marquette's seeding has not been formally determined. They will be playing at 8:30 p.m. tomorrow in the Big East Tournament quarterfinal. Wisconsin has learned their fate. They will be playing Maryland at 1 p.m. on Thursday in the quarterfinal round of the Big Ten tournament. Maryland, one of those teams that Wisconsin actually has beaten twice this season. Amidst their struggles in the month of February, where they won only 2 games. One of those was Maryland, and it was a 74-70 win against Maryland. And the first time they squared up this year, did they actually square up twice? Oh, they did. Maybe not. Maybe they only did play once. I'll be damned.
Oh, what the hell? One job.
Well, I'm doing this on the fly, Sean. We can't all be pros like you.
Yeah, because I'm a pro.
It appears they only played once, so... It appears they only played once, so it's just the one time, but they will play again tomorrow in the second round of the Big Ten tournament. Wisconsin comes into the game at 19-12. Maryland will come in at 16-16 on the season. And that coming off the heels, obviously, of a opening round win for the Terrapins. So congrats to them, and we'll see what the Badgers end up doing. As of right now, looking at potential seeding for those two teams. This is kind of cool because like bracketology, usually it starts with once a week, then it's twice a week. Now we're basically every single day. The Badgers and Marquette. Marquette currently slated by Joe Lunardi to be a 2 seed, taking on 15 Quinnipiac, with a matchup against Florida versus Michigan State on the line in the Midwest. That is the number 1 bracket, according to Joe Lunardi, as Purdue, number 1 overall seed, in his projection would be at the top of that bracket.
They got Purdue for the number 1 overall seed? I thought it was going to be like Houston.
That would be my number 1.
Great.
I don't get the hype with Purdue, and I'm sure we'll talk about that next week. I think I'm not going to pick them to be a 16-1 upset again this year, but if it happened, I wouldn't be shocked again.
Right.
Anyway, as for the Badgers are currently projected per Joe Lunardi to be a 6 seed, taking on a play-in game winner of Colorado versus Virginia, which Wisconsin has beaten Virginia once this season. So they would have that going for them in theory. Winner of that game would play the winner of Duke versus Vermont in the 3-14 matchup. And then in that, a couple other notables in that side of the region, it'd be the South region out of Dallas. It'd be Houston as the 1 seed in that one. Fellow Big Ten foe Northwestern as the 8th seed in that one. And Creighton, the number 2 seed in that one.
Okay.
So, as of right now, as it stands, the kind of the two conferences we talk about here as a multi-bid league. Big Ten currently slated for 5 teams, and the Big East for 6. So, obviously, that can all be shaken up here over the next couple of days. It's one of the best times of the year with the conference tournament, all being played right now, and takes. All I can think about, Sean, is Cardiac Kemba, a team that wasn't having any business in the in even making the NCAA tournament, was an outlier in the Big East tournament for that matter. Got hot, went on a run. Kemba Walker couldn't miss, and ends up winning a national championship in a tournament they probably weren't supposed to be in, but got hot and ended up being national champions. So that can always happen.
Was that same year as the Syracuse? What was that? 7 over? Was that 4 overtimes?
I believe it was 6 overtimes.
That was the same year, though, wasn't it?
I'm not 100% sure. I don't think so, because I think that was a Big East tournament game. And I'm pretty sure, because obviously they couldn't have,